What a week, and I'm not even talking about the potential World War III. We have Anthropic going back and forth with the US government, Block laying off over 40% of their employees, a bunch of model releases, and the Indian IT sector is getting impacted by AI. So let's jump straight into it. Anthropic have been having a fun time with the Department of War, having stayed strong on their refusal to remove the AI safeguards despite, intense pressures and a $200 million contract on the line. Basically, they'll never let Claude be used for mass domestic surveillance or fully autonomous shooting. The kind of stuff the Department of War really wants to do with it. Come on, Anthropic, it's only a little bit of surveillance. What's the harm? The government didn't exactly take it well, slapping Anthropic with a supply chain risk label, a designation usually reserved for the foreign adversaries, lumping Anthropic with companies such as Russian-based Purge and China Telecom. Trump even directed for all federal agencies to toss Anthropic's tech entirely. And without missing a beat, sensing a perfectly good moral crisis going to waste, OpenAI swooped in and signed an agreement with the Department of War. OpenAI's terms were very similar on paper, but with critical differences in the details, where it actually matters, regarding mass surveillance and autonomous weapons. So why did Anthropic, get penalized, but OpenAI gets to sign a contract deal with the military? Well, unlike Anthropic, OpenAI agreed to all lawful purposes, which includes surveillance that's legally authorized under laws like the Foreign Intelligence Surveillance Act. This is where Anthropic wanted an explicit, outright ban on the domestic surveillance. While still speculation, it's been reported that the Pentagon didn't actually even budge. And in fact, OpenAI agreed to follow laws that allowed for mass surveillance in the past, while insisting they protected its red lines. Amid the Pentagon deal and the blacklist fight, hundreds of Google and OpenAI employees signed an open letter supporting Anthropic's stand. The backlash got so big that OpenAI had to quickly change the deal, with Sam Altman coming out and admitting that he rushed the deal. In other words, it's him saying, oops, didn't mean to get caught. Ooh, sorry about that. For a PR point of view, however, damage was done. Apparently, the users are now leaving ChatGPT for Claude, with some user sources saying that OpenAI's exact subscriber loss were massive. Now, the numbers are a bit dodged, so we're not going to go into here, but what wasn't dodged was the massive viral movement of people going straight to Claude, even sharing tutorials on how to easily move your memories from ChatGPT straight into Claude, which is actually pretty handy, considering I can barely remember what I had for breakfast, let alone what I asked ChatGPT 3 months ago. Oh, yeah, I should go see the doctor now. Thanks to all this, Claude skyrocketed to the top of the App Store, getting signal boosted by celebrities such as Katy Perry, who was also subscribing to Claude. I honestly can't wait to see what she vibe codes. Of course, all this unexpected traffic caused massive issues, leading to widespread Claude outages, because apparently holding the moral high ground requires a lot of server space. Oh, and even after all the bans and the open letters and supply chain risk labels and the defense clients dramatically fleeing, apparently the US military is still using Claude. Turns out, the Pentagon just can't let go of a good thing. And neither can Anthropic CEO Dario. He's reportedly back at the table negotiating with the Pentagon. Dario is making a last-ditch effort to de-escalate the standoff, trying to hammer out a deal that lets the military keep using their models without Anthropic having to sacrifice its red lines. He even popped up in a Morgan Stanley conference saying that the two sides actually have much more in common than they have differences. But while Dario is playing diplomat with the Pentagon, he has taken absolutely no prisoners with OpenAI. In a leaked internal memo, he utterly torched OpenAI's new military contract as pure safety theater, and they don't actually care about preventing abuses at all. So if Anthropic and the Pentagon actually kiss and make up, the Pentagon will get to keep their favorite AI, and Anthropic will still be seen as a more favorable company over their competitor OpenAI. Well played, Dario. It appears you might just win on all fronts. It's good to finally see that integrity has actually been rewarded for once. No joke here, guys. That's well done, Anthropic. And in a move that proves you don't actually need to lose money to lose your job, Jack Dorsey has announced that Block, the parent company of Square and Cash App, is laying off over 4,000 people. That's nearly half the company, taking them from over 10,000 employees right down to just under 6. Now, usually when a company slashes 40% of its workforce in a single day, it's usually things typically aren't actually going too well. But no, not with Block, no. This comes off the back of a $2.8 billion gross profit. That's a big number. So why the mass layoff? Well, according to Dorsey's post on X for the whole world to read, it's all thanks to intelligent tools. Come on, Jack, just say it. It's AI. Come on, it's AI. In the post, Dorsey also stated that a smaller, flatter team using these AI tools can do more and do it better. As you can imagine, the feeling inside Block has been absolutely stellar lately. And by stellar, I mean, completely crumbling. Even before the massive cut, the company was dealing with rolling layoffs and mandatory Gen AI use. According to internal complaints, employees were required to send Dorsey weekly updates of their accomplishments just so he could feed them into an AI to be summarized. Nothing like a little micromanaging to make you feel valued. To be fair, and I use that phrase loosely. The severance package isn't actually terrible. If you're one of the 4,000 being shown the door, you get 20 weeks of base pay, plus a week for every year you're there, 6 months of healthcare, vested equity, and $5,000 for your transition. Oh, and you also get to keep your laptop, so not the worst layoff I've actually seen. Now, you might be thinking, surely the market punished this sudden, drastic disruption to a profitable company? Oh no, how wrong you are. Wall Street absolutely loved it. Block stock surged nearly 20% after the announcement, because nothing gets investors harder than the words AI and reduced headcount in the exact same sentence, adding billions to market cap faster than my kids can lose a TV remote. Oh, and Jack had some words of wisdom for the rest of us. He firmly stated that Block isn't even early to this realization, but that most companies are actually just late. He believes that majority of companies will make similar structural changes within the next year. So if your CEO suddenly starts talking to you about flatter teams and intelligent tools, well, have I got some news that you should read. Alright, on to the new model releases. Starting with OpenAI, who released 2 new models this week, 5.3 Instant and 5.4. Starting with 5.3 Instant, the model is apparently now less cringy. That's their word, not mine. The previous 5.2 model had a habit of sounding like an overly concerned life coach, telling stressed users to take a breath and stop spiraling. As one Reddit user, quote, accurately pointed out, no one has ever calmed down in the whole of history by telling someone to calm down. And as a married man myself, I can tell you, that's 100% fact. So 5.3 cuts the safety talk and the refusals quite a lot, and now just answers your questions, though I just hope some of the more brutally honest responses actually stay. But while 5.3 is basically just an update in social etiquette, 5.4 is the model actually doing the heavy lifting. OpenAI built 5.4 specifically for better and more complex workflows. They've introduced a new thinking mode that outlines its plan before executing it. You can even course correct it mid-response if it's doing something, let's just face it, stupid. Basically, you get the backseat drive the AI, and I'm sure it's going to absolutely love that. It also has native computer use, meaning 5.4 can take control of your desktop to click, type, navigate software, all using screenshots. It scored 75% on desktop navigation benchmark, a huge jump from 5.2's measly 47%, and even surpassing human performance, who just scored a respectable 72%. Just another nail in the we're going to be replaced eventually coffin, I guess. Beyond clicking around view, it comes with a massive 1 million token context window. So now you can dump your entire code base into it, though it does start to forget quite heavily the more context you actually use. OpenAI claims it's the most factual model yet. Claims are 33% less likely to be false, and it makes 18% fewer errors overall compared to 5.2. So if you've been looking for an AI to click through mind-numbing spreadsheets so you don't have to, your time has come. Staying with OpenAI, they're reportedly building a code hosting platform to compete with Microsoft GitHub. Why, you ask? Well, according to reports, OpenAI engineers reportedly experienced server interruptions that made GitHub inaccessible. So instead of just refreshing their browsers and waiting for the servers to come back online, like the rest of us, they decided to embark on developing their own platform instead. This is a massive deal considering Microsoft actually owns GitHub and happens to be one of OpenAI's biggest investors. I imagine the next board meeting is going to be all the attention of a nice family Thanksgiving dinner. And after what feels like a constant stream of new models, Google introduced Gemini 3.1 Flash-Lite, rolling out in preview. Google claims it's smarter, faster, boosting a 45% increase in output speed as well to time to first answer. That is 2.5 times faster than the previous 2.5 Flash model. Like most of Gemini's models, it still allows for flexible thinking levels so you can actively select how much the model thinks before it answers. Now, if only I could adjust the thinking of people on the internet. But sadly, this is just a feature for AI for now. While it's a light model, it's very reasonably priced for the intelligence and speed that it appears to have. India has spent the last 25 years building itself up into the world's back office, supplying customer support, data processing, coding, you name it. If a Western company needed it done cheaper, India was the answer. We're talking over 6 million jobs, nearly $300 billion in annual revenue, 7% of the country's GDP. I mean, that's a lot at risk. Unfortunately, the same logic that made companies outsource to India in the first place, get it done cheaper, get it done maybe faster, is now pointing straight to AI. If a company can choose between a team to offshore to or a 24/7 AI agent, the cost is basically just electricity. I guarantee they're going to pick the scalable option every single time. That's not me being over dramatic, that's just math, and you can already see it. A startup called Hunan AI, great name, really leaning into it, is using voice agents to run the entire hiring pipeline. Screening, interviewing, onboarding, the lot. The founder says it's replaced a lot of HR roles and will soon be doing the work of thousands. The big players are feeling it too. TCS shredded over 30,000 employees from its 2023 peak. That's the same company that added 100,000 in a single year. A US firm called Citron published a doomsday report on India's IT model and triggered a stock sell-off, so that's been fun as well. A survey of 650 companies found that AI isn't causing mass layoffs, it's just rewriting how the work gets done. So it's not an apocalypse, so don't worry, it's just, more of a renovation. A loud, stressful renovation where nobody's quite sure what the house will look like when it's done, but a renovation nevertheless. That's it for me, and that's it for this week. If there's no World War III next week, well, you can expect to see me.